We got a lot of stuff on, so we're going to get it moving. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice this meeting was provided in the annual notice of meetings published in the Union County Local Source and the Newark Star Ledger on January 12th. Said notice was posted in the municipal building as required by law, and a copy of this notice has been made available through the office of the Borough Clerk. All contracts awarded by Mayor and Council must comply with the affirmative action requirements of PL 1975 C127. Fire exits are located in the directions I'm indicating. If you are alerted for fire, please move in a calm, orderly manner to the nearest smoke-free exit. Proper notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Present.
Councilman Signorella.
Here.
Councilman Robina.
Here.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Here.
Councilman Patel.
Here.
Mayor Signorella.
Here.
All present, Mayor.
Andrew, please lead us in the opening prayer followed by a pledge of allegiance.
Eternal God, grant us thy help in all our duties and perplexities. We ask for thy guidance. Give us thy protection in our dangers and sorrows. Grant us thy peace. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, there are no communications for consideration this evening. There are no proclamations or presentations for this evening. May I have a motion to move out of order to consider Resolution 150-23?
So move. Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Andrew, please read Resolution 150-23 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Resolution 15023 is appointing Jonathan Michael De La Prida to the position of patrolman within the Roselle Park Police Department.
Andrew, please read, may I have a motion to adopt Resolution 150-23 by title? Is
So move. Second.
there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
And Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted.
Come on up. Any family you want to bring up with you? Let's have you over here.
Hi, Chief.
We'll have family. You guys want to come around back? You feel free to come up.
you want us.
Yeah. Who do you want? Hello.
Good. How about yourself?
Okay, perfect. Mama, you get to hold the Bible.
Okay.
Okay.
Right hand up, left hand on the Bible.
Yep. Right hand up, left hand on the Bible. Okay. Repeat after me, John. I, Jonathan Michael De La Prida,
I, Jonathan Michael De La Prida,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same,
to the same,
the governments established in the United States.
and
Hold on, I'll do that again for you. And to the governments established
to the governments established
in the United
in the
States
United States
and in this state
and in the state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of
perform all the duties of
police patrolman
police patrolman
of the Borough of Roselle Park
of the Borough of Roselle Park
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Yeah, let me just get, John, can I just get your John Hancock for a second here? Yeah, let me take a couple pictures. Yeah, go for it.
without it. There's not that many people here. So I just want to give you a quick background of Jonathan Della Prida, from where he came from and where he's at now. Jonathan Michael Della Prida is a current Roselle Park resident and a Roselle Park High School graduate, where he graduated in 2013. Following high school, Jonathan attended the Union County College, where he earned a degree in business. He went on to continue his education while attending Rutgers University, majoring in informational systems. In October of 2017, Jonathan was hired by the Union County Corrections Department, where he attended the Monmouth County Police Academy and graduated from Class 37. After working corrections for 3 years, Jonathan and numerous other corrections officers from Union County were laid off. With this, Jonathan applied and was chosen to participate in the alternate route program, where he attended and graduated in 2022 from the Atlantic County Police Academy. I don't know if those of you are familiar with the alternate route program, but the alternate route program, you have to pay your own way. So Jonathan was determined to continue his law enforcement career, which was great. After completing the alternate route program and graduating from the police academy,
Thank everyone, thank the council, the mayor, for the opportunity. I'm happy to work here. I've lived here my entire life, and I'm going to do the best job I can.
Congratulations.
It's not in the way. It's not in anybody's way.
That's as big as you.
No. Usually with the podium, we take a break. You may just want to tell them that they're good to go.
Cops, you're good to go. Go write some tickets. we need the revenue. Get out there.
You want to go?
Does that count as a ticket quota? Go. Go ahead, Andrew, save this meeting.
Mayor, this is the time fixed for the public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget. The budget was approved by the governing body on May 4th, 2023, was advertised as required by law on June 1st, 2023, together with a notice of public hearing for this time and place. Printed copies have been made available for the public for the past week and are available at this public hearing in the rear of the room.
Okay. Let me unclip this so I can read it. Anyone who's not secured a copy of the budget may do so now. Each person desiring to be heard shall rise, seat themselves at the public desk, and give their name and address before speaking. I will recognize one speaker at a time in order of rising, as nearly as I can determine. All questions are addressed to the chair. Where necessary, they'll be referred to individual members of the governing body or municipal officials. Questions and commentary must be confined solely to the 2023 municipal budget. School or county matters are not proper subjects for this hearing and cannot be discussed or answered during this hearing. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget is now open. No? Just skip to it, Joe. Get you out of the way and see if there's any remainders.
One, two, okay. Joe DiOrio, 824 Larch Street, Roselle Park. Can the governing body provide some information on the tax impact with this particular budget? I know there was some talk at prior meetings, but where did it finally land?
Yeah, not the greatest one we've had. I think it's, what is it, 240
4620,
house.
average house, 253,000.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. My hearing's shot.
For the average house assessed at $253,000, the municipal impact will be $246.20.
And about how many points is that
Points.
through the mayor? Well, I mean, I'll just get to the question. So how does that rank versus the prior years? I know Mayor last
The
year.
worst budget since, I've been calculating since 2000. It's the worst budget by far.
Okay. So last year was supposedly the best budget in the CFO's history. I remember last year saying that it was a 0 point. This year it's the worst.
It was actually negative for the municipal side last year. Yeah, this year's the worst. Look, I would say, I'd love to say that there's not to buck responsibility here, right? Like, I'm happy to take our part of responsibility, but this is a crisis that is statewide, right? And we saw our insurance and health insurance obligations go up like 27%, was it, Ken? 24%.
Well, the state health benefits went up 23%. What it calculated out with us, with the borough's employees' contributions, it's about almost 12% increase, $189,000.
Yeah. Coupled with the recycling fees, which we're seeing, that went up year over year. I don't know. It's been the worst we've seen in a very long time, as you know. Look, we've gotten creative. We've really gone out and tried to shop and see if there was any other options outside. But the bulk of what we're seeing is, which, Joe, you've been up here before. We see one bidder consistently for recycling and garbage. Not fun. Actually with recycling and garbage, we even tried to get creative to lower costs there. I mean, to the detriment of some services, right? We do less pickups in the downtown for garbage, and we do...
Less bulk too, or no?
There's one, yeah, so there's only one bulk pickup this year. Try to save it a couple bucks. And we switched to dual stream for recycling versus single stream to try and save a couple bucks. It still ended up going up like crazy, but I mean... Again, I'm happy to beat up on on statewide issues. I think this is kind of par for the course countywide, and I think there's a lot of towns similarly struggling with this, especially those that are in the state health system. So, look, we did our damage too, right? We increased costs on certain things. We gave some people raises, but the bulk of this, I would say 700 to 800K of it is between recycling and insurance obligations, and it sucks.
Yeah, but could some of this been avoided if the governing body had decided not to give a 0 last year?
We couldn't not give a 0 last year. So actually, it was going to be a 0 last year, but because of the caps, we couldn't. Back me up on this one, Ken, because I'm not a CFO. But I would have loved to have done a marginal increase to make the curve not so high. And we were transparent about this last year. As much as I'm happy to take a victory lap on lowering, we were at a 0 increase, and then we had to reduce because of the 2% cap. So.
Right, we had cap problems between appropriation caps and levy cap.
So I guess should have some water here. With all that said, thank you.
There you go. No, I'm good. I got a reusable bottle here. Trying to be green.
Yours are going up to $2.50 now.
I'll give you the $1 for the water. Actually, it's about 17 cents if you really look at it. And I guess my other point is, since you did a great job letting the public know last year about how well the governing body did with their tax impact, likewise do the same to let the folks know that this is the worst.
Yeah, I'm gonna do cartwheels around Roselle Park and tell people this is the worst tax year
when you did cartwheels last year when you said, hey, we got a 0 or it's a negative, so maybe do, it's the worst this year.
The Democrat Party flyers are gonna say this year, worst tax increase ever.
I'm not even talking about that.
Okay.
Not even. But just, again, it's just, fair is fair. So,
I
great
mean-
year, a bad year.
Sure. I mean, I would
folks know.
I would argue, I would say, and we have the distinct numbers around this. Look, when you average out the last 5 years, it averages out to like
$86.68.
I know, but unfortunately, averages don't work in this situation because what's going to happen is people are going to see a huge hit to their tax bill. They're not going to look at averages. The businesses are going to look at a huge hit. I know even our family business, we're going to see, oh my God, how many subs do we have to sell in order to make that difference? So I'm just again, letting folks know.
I agree. And look, I don't want to throw
And it's not a Republican Democrat thing. I'm just saying, let folks know.
No, 100%. I'm saying it right now. We're having a bad tax year. I mean, I'll also let folks know. I think part of my frustration, and I think part of the other frustration I have with the way that the state's been handing out state aid. Well, I can talk all night about this, right? I mean, as much as I'll beat you up over being mayor and the tax increases,
We actually had a tax decrease when I was finance chair back in before Ken's
Okay,
time.
whatever. Let's skip past that. The point I'm trying to make is, if you really look back over the last 20 years, the major spike in property taxes that we've had was, I'm not trying to get political here, but it was under the Christie years when a lot of state aid got cut from school boards, right? Now, part of my frustration is, and I understand that the Board of Ed has lots of things that they have to pay for, but we haven't seen zilch, zero, nada in terms of increases in state aid. State aid has been given back to the Board of Ed, not just in Roselle Park, but in other
You're not
locations.
supposed to talk about the Board of Ed. You said it earlier.
Okay. Can I not talk about the Board of Ed? There's no questions about the Board of Ed.
You've answered the questions.
But broadly, I would say state aid's been given back to municipalities and Board of Educations, and we haven't seen budgets come back down, right? Macro level.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yep.
Thank you for the water, too.
Yep, you're very welcome. Your tax dollars at work. Anyone else? I am seeing no one. May I have a motion to close the public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing on the 2023 municipal budget is now closed. Final adoption of the 2023 municipal budget will be considered during the portion of the agenda when resolutions are regularly considered. There are no meeting minutes for consideration this evening. May I have a motion that bills and payrolls be not read and passed for payment?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to open the public portion on agenda items only?
So move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you'd like to come speak, come forward into the microphone, state your name and address for the record. This is on agenda items only. Mary Ann's wearing green for marijuana. She's thrilled about it.
Yeah, I'm so thrilled. Yes, I am. Mary Ann Brenner,
Killing it tonight,
141
Greg, I know.
Charlotte Terrace. In reference to ordinance 2729, I'm speaking. I hope that by presenting facts and not hearsay or opinions, some of you on council will see that passing this ordinance will underscore the borough's health and safety of our children and young adults. There are 30 cannabis shops operating now in the state of New Jersey. 6 of them border Roselle Park, Elizabeth with 3, Roselle with 2, and Union with 1. So again, I question, why do we have to have this in our 1 square mile bucolic town? There has been a reference that's been said in jest by the mayor and some council members that more residents were upset and vocal on the street cleaning ordinance and the car washing ordinance than on the cannabis ordinance. It shouldn't be taken as something funny or perceived in that manner. While the cleaning and car wash ordinance affects the entire borough, in fact, stated by the Land Use Board at their last meeting, most likely only Ward 1 would be affected by a cannabis shop. That is why Not in My Backyard comes
Where
in
do you
these
get
other-
that from, Mary Ann?
The last Land Use Board meeting.
In
That when they- when
what
they-
world, when I look at a map, in what world does this
When we were
only
all
impact Ward
standing,
one?
when we were all standing behind, they said the most likely spot was going to be in Ward 1. I wrote it down. When we
By
were-
who?
By whoever the gentleman was that was up
Okay,
here.
you continue. I don't want to take up your time.
Okay, yes. The cannabis products, according to state statistics, are a large contributing factor to teen and young adult mental health issues. In 2022, over 2 million students tried or were using cannabis products. 1 in 4 were negatively impacted. Using marijuana is exacerbating anxiety, depression, and restlessness. Cannabis shops have products that sell are appealing to younger children, and they are designed as look-alike snacks and candies. Children are more likely to overdose. 22 states that have legal marijuana, including New Jersey, saw a rise in accidental overdoses in children ages 5 to 9. These same ages those attend our grammar schools. The overdoses took place in a home where an adult over 21 made that purchase, not a young person. An adult over 21 made the purchase. The state licensing organization takes time to acquire a license. We all know that. If you want to grow it, sell it, or distribute it, it does take time. But we as residents have witnessed the sidestepping that occurs often in government, and it happened recently with Curaleaf, who is a large distributor, and their license was revoked, and within 1 day, there was a special counsel with the Attorney General in the state of New Jersey, and it was restored the following day. Not unlike what we saw on the TV news, where everybody said it took 4 to 6 months to get a passport, and somebody went to Senator Menendez's office and got a passport in 1 day. So we know that this incident happened, so things can be passed. It seems that larger companies can sidestep profits, so where does that end? I will also point out that there's a looming factor that the role of law enforcement is extremely limited in any interaction with cannabis possession. It was a blanketed rule that came under alcohol possession and cannabis possession, and the state law enacted in 2021 states that a police officer cannot transport to a station or headquarters if a person possesses or consumes unless it is witnessed by that police officer. Now, minors also cannot be transported, and under that law, also, their parent or guardian does not have to be notified. So we have an issue that could possibly come up there if there is possession. Underage, you're basically immune to an interaction. So I ask the council and mayor take into consideration that you do not elevate a 2% tax sale or to occupy an empty storefront above our children's safety. With respect to you, Mayor, I know I've heard what you had to say or whatever. And I'm just wondering if there's anybody else on council who is for this that would like to comment why they think we should have this in our borough.
We're going to have, you've got, Marianne, you got 52 seconds left. So if you
52
want to say anything else,
I'm done.
there's
I'm done.
on the ordinance, anybody could speak their mind.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I will stop you on, and it is just utter nonsense, the idea that anybody can look at this and say that this is a first ward specific idea is just, you're just being factually incorrect. And you can even look at the interested parties tonight,
Yes.
and I want to be abundantly clear, all of those interested parties, we are just doing letters of support so they can go forward to the state
Correct.
to potentially apply.
Yes.
But I think maybe one of the 5 are in the first ward. So it's
But we've
fear-mongering
heard
is what
we've
you're doing
heard
right
from
now. It's
you.
full stop.
Right. We've heard from you, but I'd like to hear from other
I
council
look
who
forward
has
to
something say.
council's commentary when the ordinance reading. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I'm thrilled for it.
Yes.
And I'm
hoping
thrilled
that
for your
somebody else-
opposition
yes.
to also renewing all the liquor licenses tonight,
Yeah.
which I'm sure are also detrimental to the children of the borough of
Not as
Roselle
bad as
Park and
cannabis.
the state of New Jersey.
Not as bad as cannabis.
Okay, you're right.
Not.
Yeah.
I am right. I was a narcotics officer.
I'm sure. Anybody else want to come speak?
I knew I was coming up sooner or later.
Can't wait.
Good evening, Bill Cross at 412 Galloping Hill Road. Unfortunately, I forgot my glasses, so I couldn't reread all the agenda items, but I believe permits and fees are on the agenda tonight.
Yes, many of them.
Okay. I recently went through the process of getting a permit to do a replacement for my condenser and my air handler. The fee was $366. When I read the agenda at home before I came, I couldn't get any numbers that were coming up to $366 for a simple permit. So I don't know if we're raising fees as compared to what they were, if we're trying to cover their salaries for the year by raising fees, but I think they're already too high, especially when so many people in the borough are on fixed incomes because they're retired. When so many people in the borough are trying to feed their families. So if you can consider maybe cutting back on fees a little bit from where they are, Maybe senior citizens and veterans get a discount, I don't know, but $366 to replace an air conditioner on top of that huge expense, that just seemed a bit much.
Okay. Do you want to speak to the fee increases in broad strokes, Andrew? Because you probably know them better than I do.
I would actually prefer Rich to, we're talking about the Uniform Construction Code fees?
Why don't we just hold off until we do the reading on it?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Probably.
Any further? Is the light on? It's a pain. I hate this button. You got to hold it till it turns on. There you go.
Steve Petrozelli, 633 Spruce Street. I've lived in this town 30 years. This mic is the first time most of you have ever seen me and heard me. That's how passionate I am about this marijuana thing. Am I worried about my children? No, because they're in their 30s and they don't live here anymore. And I'm not going to give you a lot of statistics because you did a great job. I understand this is not a referendum about the legalization of marijuana. That's been settled. But it looks to me, unless I'm missing something, that we're like pioneering this with 5 or 6 different ones. And if I'm wrong, tell me.
You are.
It looks like, you know, and your comments, Mayor, about alcohol, well, there are alcohol licenses in almost every community. Why aren't they opening up marijuana establishments? Because they're not.
Literally every town around us outside of Cranford so far has.
No Cranford has. Westfield has?
I don't. So everybody around us has. I don't know if Westfield has now.
So, but 5, even if it was 1, I probably wouldn't even be here tonight. But the idea of 5 or 6, and yes, it's an image thing.
But
Wait a minute, my turn, right? And I'll let you.
if you'd like
Got
to.
one more comment.
Yeah.
It is an image thing to me.
Sure.
It's an image to our children. If I had them, I'd be really angry, because I understand there's laws, and I understand kids who want to smoke will smoke and find it illegally.
Sure.
And I understand that by legalizing it, we have controlled it.
Yep.
And I don't think a lot of people who don't smoke marijuana are all of a sudden going to.
Yep.
But it's the image of 5 or 6 in a 1 square mile community that I don't get.
Yeah.
And the image to our kids that this is something you should be doing, because look, we have 6 of these in our community.
But I can't, and I don't want to interrupt you, but I think it's really, really important to mention, and I'm going to talk about this, right? So we are doing a resolution of support for 5 different firms, right? Now, that does not mean that we are accepting 5 different firms, right? The resolution of support, all that is the first step on the train for them to go to the state to potentially get a license, right? And if the state gives them a license, then they need to pass through our local license vetting process. And then if they pass the local license vetting process, then they have to go through the gauntlet of all the different rules and regulations of where our things can be. So this is basically the borough saying, hey guys, you can go get your license, but you need to come back and apply to the borough of Roselle Park.
Potentially, we could have 5 or 6.
No, I don't see that happening.
No, I didn't ask you that. I said potentially. We have opened the door for it, even though I understand it probably won't happen.
The cap of potential licenses right now sits at 5. I'm going to actually propose a lowering of that tonight, right, is the first thing. Based on the location requirements, again, the likelihood is incredible. Like, you need to be 4,000 feet. Do you know how, so 4,000 feet is like half the borough, right? So you need to be 4,000 feet from the next nearest thing. Realistically, 2, maybe 3 max is what could fit in the borough. Now, the other thing I want to mention is when you talk about, and I guess this is more of a question, when you talk about opposition to this, right? So we're talking specifically about retail, right? I mean, I I guess, do you have as much of a strong opposition to somebody saying, okay, we're going to take a warehouse and we're going to grow marijuana in Roselle Park? I mean, it's not like anybody's going to access that, is my question.
No, because I think a warehouse would be more hidden to.
That's right. Yeah, that's my view too. So my follow-up point to that is, right, you know, you could have a situation where you have, let's just say, a retail shop or two and one of the old warehouses that's underutilized in Roselle Park, that could be turned into a place where it's cultivated and grown and then shipped off somewhere else, right? So you could have permutations of it like that, right? But I agree, and I think there's a lot of confusion there. As a matter of fact, I've had to talk to the council 7 times about this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Madam Attorney, but the 5 folks that are getting, you know, letters of support here, it is a lot of folks that want to get into marijuana, right? They have what's called a conditional license from the state, right? And a lot of those conditional licenses are running out. So to continue to be in the running, I'm sorry, I can't talk, but we can talk afterwards more, but you can yell at me afterwards more. You can stick around.
Yeah,
But they need this letter of support to continue the process. Nothing here says that they're starting or breaking ground anywhere, and they still have a gauntlet to go through, right? So I hope that allays some of your concerns.
Thank you.
Yep. Go ahead.
Ed Rackler, Tulin the Lane, Springfield, New Jersey, talking about the cannabis ordinance. So, I mean, I know there was, like you mentioned, a lot of kind of fear-mongering. I just have a recent report on cannabis and children use, you know, where realistically, this is from the NIH, published November, where statistics have shown that there's a decrease in use amongst children 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, 62% on average, when the dispensary is opened, due to the fact that there's no illegal distribution of cannabis. You know, and you know, like you said, Mayor, it's extremely regulated, and to really get through the gauntlet of a state approval, like, I mean, this is our security plan. That's one of multiple different plans that need to be submitted to the states. There's a 54-page plan in regards to armed guard, cameras, and so forth. So, the fear of potentially exposing to children is just unrealistic. That's just that nobody that is under 21 is getting cannabis. And the benefits besides the 2% tax, which is significant. I mean, that's somewhat overlooked. But if you're like, I mean, I know you've allowed all the classes. I mean, retail, if they're averaging.
We haven't allowed 6. We're not permitting.
Right. And regardless of your stance on it, even if potentially this is voted down, anyone who wants to do it can get it delivered. So you're just not going to be reaping any of the financial rewards. So if somebody wants to get it, they could get it delivered from Elizabeth, from Roselle, from another town. You're just not getting any of the tax benefit of it.
That's correct.
But like if we look conservatively, making potentially year 3 like $5 million, 2% of that, $100,000 is a significant amount of tax revenue just for the retail part of it. In regards to cultivation, about $12 million, so about $240,000. I mean, these are. I know there's a budget issue that was just discussed. I mean, these are real significant numbers that you could potentially ascertain. So I mean, that's what I kind of want to relay, that the issue with the children is not really realistic. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't even know if I could talk about this, but my family owns a bar in Roselle Park, right? If they serve booze to kids, they're not getting liquor, they're not maintaining their liquor license, right?
And this is happening, I mean, this is the reality. 2 or 3 years from now, potentially just like alcohol, this is happening. The cat's out of the bag, and eventually all municipalities are going to jump on board. So, I mean, it makes sense to just kind of get in front of this. Metuchen just passed. Metuchen, very similar town. They allow three retail licenses. They're going through the process as well. So it's really Springfield, Union, Roselle, Cranford's potentially on board. So I mean, this is happening.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
I just have a question. Since I'm not sure of the answer at all, I know Marianne talked about that we have shops around here like Elizabeth, whatever. And you said you could get it delivered, right? So like, what's the process of getting it delivered? Like, how does it all work?
So
Uber. It's
no,
Uber
I
Eats.
mean, it's
yeah.
to deliver, you do need the actual regulations, and you can only carry a certain amount of money on it, but they can get it delivered from any dispensary.
So basically, like a kid could order from Uber Eats and get it.
No.
Well, it's not Uber Eats, right? But there's
You have to have
delivery
an
apps.
account. I mean, actually, right now, no dispensaries deliver right now. They have where you could pre-order and come in there and order, but in more mature markets like California, Oregon, Washington, you can deliver once you have an established, and once they,
It's a Class 6 license. It's
Right.
not going to be delivered by Uber Eats. It's
No.
not going to be delivered by FedEx or UPS.
And the person-
It is specifically regulated.
and once they hand it to you,
for
they check
delivery.
ID, the person has to hand, they check ID once they give it
It's
to
all
you.
in the statute.
Yeah.
So
But it's not an Uber
Class
Eats.
6 has
Yeah,
been
yeah.
established.
I'm being a little bit glib with how easy it is, right? But
Yeah,
but the long story short is,
It's just as regulated as Class 1 through
Absolutely.
5.
sure. But you can go on a website, you
So
order
as-
it to your house, they will check, right?
as long as like, a shop has a class 6.
A Class 6 license, which we're not actually allowing for.
Any retail shop could potentially deliver as well. Even like if a Class 5 is open here, they could deliver to a different, I mean, you have to establish that and get the drivers and put in the capital to do that, but you could potentially deliver to a different municipality.
But one of the reasons we're not zoning for Class 6 is honestly pure logistics, right? Like it can be pretty intensive with, vehicles coming in and out and so on and so forth, so.
Any other questions?
Those are my questions.
Yeah, no, this is all new, so this is, we're all,
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ed. Hello.
Hi, Jennifer McCool, 415 Filbert Street.
Please
Roselle
tell me it's
Park.
about something besides weed. Please.
So I want to understand the process.
Sure.
So you said that tonight there's 5 companies that are doing this letter of resolution.
Yeah, can I just, so keep asking your questions.
So my question is,
Yep.
why would they pick Roselle Park to start that process? Does that mean that they are, once they get it approved by the state, they have an intention to go through the process here? Is that how it starts? You pick the town that you'd like to start in? So truthfully, these 5 companies are going to start the process of trying to apply for.
They do have interest in Roselle Park.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the question is whether or not, so Carol will correct me, excuse me. So there's two types of licenses from the CRC, right? There's conditional licenses, which a lot of folks have early on applied for, and those are tied to municipalities, right? And a lot of those are running out for early applicants. Is that?
They're not specifically tied to a municipality. When an applicant goes before the state CRC, Cannabis Regulation Commission, they initially apply, they will receive a conditional license. That's the first step in the process. As part of that, and in order to then go from the conditional license to the full license, they're given 120 days. Because of COVID and things that have happened, you can also apply and ask for an extension. So some have gone beyond that 120 days, but they still have a deadline to get to the next step in the process with the state. So one of those things that the state requires is a resolution of support. And what that resolution of support does is simply say that we have an ordinance, we want to allow certain classes, and different municipalities have different assortment of classes that they're looking to permit, but we're acknowledging that we have an ordinance in place, or it's going to be in place for a certain class, and assuming this conditional license is, let's say, Class 5 retail, because that's what everyone seems to be concerned about, and that it's zoned appropriately in this town to allow, in certain areas, a Class 5 license, and that they have, or they will have, and this is the next step they're also trying to do too, is have control of a location. To find a location, get a lease committed, purchase a location, so that they can prove to the CRC that they have control of an appropriate location, an appropriate spot in the municipality to go forward with this before they get their conditional license.
So let me just
I mean, their permanent license, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so let me kind of just, so I'm going to read one of these resolutions just so it's crystal clear, because candidly, who reads these things, right? But I'll read it out for everybody. But to be very clear in broad strokes, this means that there are 5 people interested in Roselle Park, right? And should they get their state license from the CRC, then they are allowed to come back and be reviewed by our local licensing board, which they could get rejected or approved, right? Subject to how many licenses we have remaining, so on and so forth. And even if they make it past that, they still need to be approved by mayor and council as a whole, right? So the licensing board only makes a recommendation. We say, hey, we think these guys are cool. Mayor and council give the thumbs up. So this is step 1. Then there's step 2 for the licensing board. There's step 3 that mayor and council need to approve. And then even if mayor and council approves it, they need to go to the municipal land use board to say, okay, does this have enough parking? If it doesn't have enough parking, are we going to give an exception? Is this in the right location? If it's not in the right location, are we going to give an exception? Does this have the right security requirements? Whatever else. It's conditional use, right? So this is one of 4 steps, right? And this is, I want to read this because I think it's important to show how non-binding is, but you only have 45 seconds. Is there any other questions?
I just wanted to let you know, Mr. Patel, on the way to Newark on Route 22, there's 2 giant billboards from 2 different companies that have delivery of weed services, just to let you know that it is very close to home.
Oh, Andrew needs to ask you a question. Did you say your name and address for the record?
Yes.
I just need your last name.
McCool, M-A-K-H-O-U-L.
I'm sorry, again, M-A,
M-A-K-H-O-U-L.
and your address?
415
415.
Filbert Street.
I wasn't even close. Thank you.
So I'm gonna. You can stick around if you want to, but I'm gonna read one of these just so everybody understands, right? I'm not gonna read the boring part. Marijuana was made legal in New Jersey, right? I'll skip to the end. Ordinance number 2729 further seeks to establish where these licenses could be issued within approved zones, and the issue of a license to the licensee would not exceed any limit on number of licensed cannabis businesses in Roselle Park at the present time. If adopted June 2023, it will not become effective till publication, so we still have some time to go before it's even effective. The borough has received numerous inquiries, various licensee applicants seeking municipal support for their applications. Well, we will be requesting additional information from the prospective applicants that would demonstrate their ability to operate a successful and safe cannabis business within the appropriate and approved zone of the borough, who can demonstrate site control of the location. So the above recitals hereby so issuance, they're looking for a Class 5 license, but I want to read this. Resolution of support is specifically subject to and conditioned upon the applicant filing a local license, as I described, right? Application with the borough in accordance with the borough licensing ordinance and paying the application fee. The resolution support is specifically subject to and conditioned upon local land use board zoning approval. So in these letters of support, we're saying outright, dude, you got to come back, right? So this is step 1, and it's like a funnel, right? Like 5 apply, 2 or 3 survive, right? Whew. It's complicated. Anybody else? You know, you guys can talk on this on the second ordinance reading too, right?
Chris Schmiger, B36 Woodside Gardens. Let me just see if I can maybe just ask this question, make it a little bit easier for you guys to explain. So these companies that are putting in these applications, you're pretty much just saying to these companies, okay, you guys are good to go. Go to the states, put in the applications. We can approve it, we can reject it. You're not fully endorsing these companies.
There is no applications being made tonight. There's no. I want to correct the term of that use. No applications are being made tonight. These are letters of support for folks that are interested in sites in Roselle Park, so that they can apply for a state license. Is that fair to say?
So you guys are supporting these companies?
We're giving them the ability to apply for a state license.
Gotcha. That's all I wanted to know.
We're required under the regulations for the CRC to provide a resolution of support. And the resolution of support specifically addresses and parrots what is needed. Like one of the first things you mentioned there about
It's good, Reza.
not exceeding a limit or anything. That's something specific that the CRC says, municipality, we want to know this, this, and this. You have to put this into your resolution so that they can make some decisions or ask.
Because the CRC, somebody could come to the, like, part of what this shows is 5 different companies could claim the same location in Roselle Park, and how the hell would the CRC know, right? So this kind of does some, I would assume, some cleanup work for the CRC to say, okay, the borough's done some homework for it. There's only one guy that could potentially own this place, right? So we'll check them out.
But what you guys are saying is that you've researched these companies and you're not.
No, this is no application's been made. This is somebody comes to
Only to the state CRC.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
They show they have the funding, they show they have the financing, they.
They still could be denied from the state.
They could be
correct?
from the state, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just a part of the process.
Let's be abundantly clear. The process so far, right, and this is for nobody to get scared, but this is just, somebody's emailed the borough, me, or Carol, and said, hey, we want to go to the state for an application. We're looking at this site. Can you do us a letter of support? That's it. And we've made it abundantly clear to everybody that if you get your state license, right, like, I'm going to make an example right here. So Ed's one of the applicants right here. Wish the best for Ed. Great job, buddy. Ed could go apply to the state, and the state could say, nah, right? And then he can't even come back, right? Sorry, I don't hope that for you, but I'm trying to make the example concrete, right? So all this says is he's got a site in mind. The site is in one of the zones where marijuana is allowed, and should he get the okay from the state, then he is allowed to come back to the borough to apply for a site.
Okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Whew. Ron, no, it's complicated enough, pal. You sit there. I got it so far. Cindy, you're super tan. Oh, sorry, not Constant. Sorry, it's the C's and Walnut.
Understood. Constance Quintella, 432 Walnut.
Wrong one.
So I just actually had a quick question.
Yeah.
So I know these were just for offering support, but you had said only one would be in Ward 1, so you must have some idea of the location of the 5?
Yeah. I think, are the locations on here?
No.
Oh, they're not. Yeah.
From the ones that I spoke with, some didn't even have an idea. They were looking for their letter of support. They were interested in Roselle Park. They were looking for the letter of support, and then they were going to come in and start looking, based upon the ordinance and where it's permitted. They were going to start looking for location. I think 1 or 2 may have a thought in mind of where they want to go, but other than that, I don't believe any of them at the present
The one I had a call today with somebody who was interested in a Ward 1. It's they the place that they were looking at is there's like a body shop over on the Roselle side.
That's that dead end over there, right?
Yeah, it's like there's like the little dead end over by La Catina. Yeah, the little tail end of Sheridan was the area they were looking at. So that's the one but so in that case, right, I think that's in the ROB district, and we allow a max of 1 in the ROB district, right? So, and honestly, we could also, so there's 2 sides to the ROB district. So if somebody comes in and applies to, what's the other side of the ROB district? It's not going to happen because there's a church there. But if somebody takes over Well Done Business building products, right, and says we're going to put weed there, they would take up. It's a thriving business. I don't think that's happening, right? But then that would take up the 1 spot in the ROB, and then I think there'd be nothing available in the first ward. But again, the maps are tough, so.
Okay, so none of these actually had a set location besides?
No, I said I know of 1 in the Ward 1 because somebody talked to me today about an area in the Ward 1.
Okay,
So,
just wondering.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I spoke too soon. This is now worse than the car repair.
Hi, Lucy Figueredo, 330 Sheridan Avenue.
Yep.
I have nothing for you.
Okay.
I actually know, for a fact, let's be realistic, I know every town around us, not Cranford or Westfield, are doing it.
Yeah.
I get it. The only thing I did not like is Ed, his one comment about, if you do not do it, other people are going to make money. Come on. Realistically, we know you're going to do it. But to come out and say, you know, if you don't do it, I'm going to get, you know, other people are going to make the money anyway. That
You're supposed to be talking about the agenda items.
I am.
We're gonna count it as agenda item.
Okay, not a
Yeah, that's fine.
So I realize it, that our other people are doing it. I do.
Yeah.
But Cranford is not, nor is Westfield.
Yeah. Yet.
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 But you do have one, right? You have a medical one, and technically, if they choose to open one, that is already considered one on Westfield Avenue.
It is, yeah, so that's
Okay.
right. So that would be an expanded case, so there's not gonna be theoretically another one right next to them.
Correct.
Now,
You
if we pass tonight's ordinance, they could apply to us to say, hey, we wanna just sell rec use too. But honestly, so they've got, I've spoken with them, and they've been really good partners so far, right? Like, there were fears about some of this when we were talking about medical marijuana. None of those fears have come to pass, in my view. But what was I going to say? I think they have applications going in Asbury Park and in their hometown of Cranberry, and look, they're still trying to build a building, so I don't think they're doing any other things right
No,
now besides
and-
medical.
No, and I know that it is there, and I know it does help people.
Yeah.
There's people with anxiety, and I know it helps them.
Yep.
I've done a lot of research on it,
Yep.
and I know some people do need it.
Yep.
Am I worried about, I do have young children.
Yep.
Do I think my children are going to drink underage? I try to tell my children, I can't be around them 24/7.
Yep.
I try to tell my children good from bad.
Yep.
They're the only ones that are going to make the decision. I tell them how. I try to show them morals.
Yep.
I tell them, do not do this. I'm not going to be with my children 24/7. I'm just hoping that my guidance helps them.
Yep.
That's all I want to tell you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I appreciate that. Lucy giveth and Lucy taketh away. Tonight she giveth. But I would also say, like, any of these people, if you're watching out there, or if you're in the audience tonight, just on as a non sequitur, like, you should go check out one of these places. Like, they're on 22, right? And you could still be morally opposed to marijuana. You could still have an issue with marijuana. You could still not want it in your town. But I think if you go to one of these places, it'll help allay a lot of the fears of kids having access to this. Like, the security is super, super tight, right? If I shave, they card me. Go ahead, Joe.
Joe DiOrio, 824 Larch Street. So regarding the resolutions 182 to 186.
Yep.
So 2 days ago, we received the agenda that stated there are 5 companies looking for issuance of 7 licenses, or at least the support of the issuance of 7 licenses. So essentially, you are allowing the number that's voted upon here to be issued. What you're saying is that, well, it's not going to be all 7. It could be all 7. It could be all 7 licenses issued. And the Municipal Land Use Board, while you have a zoning ordinance in place with restrictions, the zoning board has granted variances before, and that's how they would receive a location that's within a restricted zone. So you could essentially say, well, the one's going to go on Sheridan Avenue, and that's an ROB, so check that box off. But you got another one, and there's an ROB in the downtown area. So zoning board could say, or municipal land use board could say, okay, we're going to permit it. That's
I
my
actually
understanding.
don't. So I don't think they can. I don't think they can grant. Can they grant relief that way?
Well, a variance against zoning is a diversion of
Yeah,
zoning.
but so I don't think. I think they can give variances in terms of like parking spaces. But Rich, you know this better than I do. So if somebody applies to, if we've already given out one.
I'm sorry, if I may.
Yeah,
This is
sure.
my time.
Yeah.
If someone wants to put a business in a residential zone, let's say an R2 or R1 zone,
Yeah.
a business could if they get a variance.
Yep.
Correct? Yes.
Yeah.
So, but that's zoning. That's Roselle Park. That's everywhere in the state of New Jersey. So essentially, when thinking about the maximum possibility, you're possibly issuing 7 licenses, potentially at 5 locations if the one business, I don't know any of these businesses, and I guess that's my frustration too, is that, Mayor, you said that you had to talk to your council members 7 times. The only time you've talked to the public is 2 days ago when this was issued. I know very little. And I'm sure most people don't know anything if they don't know very little, they don't know anything. So my concern is that if the governing body was going to do this, I would think you'd want to start off with maybe 1 or 2 and see how it works out instead of opening it up to the potential of 7 licenses being issued. That's my concern. That's what we did with Breakwater.
Sure.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And it seemed like it all worked out. I voted for that ordinance.
Yeah.
Remember, I was there.
Sure.
But here, you're, and I can't figure out why yet, why you would say to 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 businesses issue, and one business wants 3 licenses. Okay, go to the state now and then come back to us and check out the places. I don't know where they're looking. I don't know what's in consideration. I don't know their background. I think since we're in such a world where information is easily disseminated to people, text messages, we get constant text messages about events in town, postponements, garbage. An issue as important as this, I think you would want people to know so they would feel comfortable, so that, or maybe they don't feel comfortable, but at least they know.
Yeah, but are you finished, or do you have more?
Depends on what you say.
I cannot stress this enough, and I'm not trying to butt heads with you on this one.
It's not about butting heads.
But there's, let me be abundantly clear. Saying that these 5 resolutions are approvals or
I'm not saying that. I said you have the potential. You have the potential by granting this.
Of course they do, Joe, but they still have
agree.
3 layers to go through.
But you agree. Just like a temporary CO
yeah, 100%. Let me say it on the record. All 5 of them have the potential to be here.
Of issuing, the borough can potentially issue 7 licenses.
No.
That's what you're doing here.
That's incorrect.
Could I
Yeah,
just?
no.
So one of the things, and I think that might even be more important than the zoning, and you have 52 seconds, is the limit on the number of local licenses that the municipality would ever issue.
Okay, so how many is that? 52 seconds.
Right now it's 5. It's going to be buttoned down to 4.
Right
So
now,
this one that's asking for 3, they would only get 1? If there were 4 issued, they could only get 1?
Not necessarily.
So here we go. We are, the public is very confused about these issues. I think an open and direct discussion about it would be very helpful so that people can understand. And whether they disagree or not, whether they morally disagree or not, at least everything is out there. And you know what is being voted on. And council members know what they're voting on. I mean, Mayor, and again, you're the mayor, so most people will go to you and the attorney.
Sure.
But how much information does the rest of the governing body have on these businesses that are going to be approved tonight? I don't know.
I don't.
Not approved is the wrong.
I'm sorry. Well, you're approving the resolution to let them go to the next step.
Yeah. And I just want to, look, you guys can come talk about this again when we do the second reading for the ordinance.
Isn't it common practice when you put in an application, you usually want more than one applicant, because if the number is 2, let's just say, ironically it's 2, you're going to have more applicants that apply for it. Doesn't necessarily mean everyone is getting approved.
Correct. So
I don't know what the confusion
So
is
when I'll take a concrete. So who's like Cannabis MD is one of the letters of support that we're going to have tonight, right? It's a nothing burger. It's a complete nothing burger because it allows Cannabis MD to go to the state to reapply to us. Now, if what are we calling it? The evaluation board, whatever it is?
Cannabis Review Board.
Cannabis Review Board, they're going to have to come with an application, right? Which will be operable. I mean, we can put them for the public. What?
Portion,
Are they not operable?
yeah, a portion of it isn't, like the proprietary stuff, so.
Okay.
It's not completely,
So fair enough. To the extent that we can share it with the public, it's
yeah,
shareable.
there's restrictions within, again, the CRC's regulations.
And again, that's only a recommendation to
we
the,
can
it's
share.
only a recommendation to the council, and that will be given on the agenda, I would imagine.
Right. So, again, to speak to what you were saying, Mr. Diorio, this resolution of support allows any applicant to move off of their conditional license and move forward in the process, again, at the state level. It doesn't come back to us for consideration until the state gives their blessing, they have their full license, then they come before the licensing board, the local licensing board, who makes the recommendation, and everyone will have an application and a packet and everything involved, where they're going. They'll know more information. We are just assisting these people moving off that conditional license, because they're in that holding pattern until they get a letter of support from a location somewhere. And quite frankly, I don't know that they haven't applied to 3 other towns.
Yeah, who knows?
Looking for a letter of support so that they can move forward with the CRC.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's, at this level, this letter of support doesn't promise anything. It just shows that there's interest in this town. It's not like they're looking for a town to go into a town that's opted out, in which case the town would say, no, of course not. We don't support them. We opted out of this. We don't want it. Well, then they've got to go back to their drawing board and say, okay, we have to find a town that allows it or will allow it.
Okay, Carol, respectfully, let's keep it moving because we could talk about this again during the public hearing on the ordinance where everybody can come talk up for a limited time. Okay, is anybody else? Public portion agenda items only? Ron, you stay right there. You're not part of the public. May I have a motion to close the public portion on agenda items only?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to accept the reports of pardons as submitted?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Here comes the fun one. Andrew, please read ordinance number 2729 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2729 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 40 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park so as to permit certain cannabis businesses as conditional uses within the B2 Central Business, B3 Arterial Business, and I Industrial Zone districts, and establishing a new Chapter 30 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park, implementing a cannabis transfer and use tax within the Borough of Roselle Park. Mayor, I'll read the recommendation of the board.
Yep.
From the Municipal Land Use Board, referring ordinance 2729 back to Mayor and Council, please be advised that the Roselle Park Municipal Land Use Board reviewed ordinance 2729 entitled an ordinance amending Chapter 40 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park so as to permit certain cannabis businesses as conditional use within the B2 Central Business, B3 Arterial Business, and I Industrial Zone districts, and establishing a new Chapter 40 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park implementing a cannabis transfer and use tax within the Borough of Roselle Park. The board voted unanimously to refer the ordinance back to Mayor and Council without contention, but with the technical recommendation that ordinance 2729 be adopted with the intention of understanding of the governing body to cap the maximum number of cannabis-related licenses per each designated zone district to reflect and maintain conformity with the master plan.
Okay, may I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2729?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If you guys would like to come up and speak again on this, you may do so now. Anybody? Round two? Please no. Okay, may I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2729?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2729?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
Regarding this ordinance, page 25, correction needs to be made under B3, cannabis establishment and/or expanded ATC facilities shall not be located within 1,000 feet of any school. It should read 1,500, as it does on page 13 and 19. Uniformity?
Yep, I think that's probably just a typo. Can we?
Just want to make sure that's taken care of.
Yeah, as long as.
Where is it?
On page 25.
On page 25.
B3. Cannabis business establishment and/or expanded
I
ATC
gotcha.
shall not be located within 1,000 feet of any school and 500 feet of any property line of any existing church, child care center, or any existing park, public park. Yep. And if you go back to pages 13.
So I would caution councilmen to be careful with that because the specific amendment of the governing body was related to Class 5 cannabis businesses, which are the retailing cannabis businesses. So page
So that's-
25 is, I'm sorry, it's
It just
just,
refers to it as a cannabis
It's the
business
ATC
establishment.
facilities.
Right, so page 25, this is referring to, so this is where,
25 is the industrial area, which does not contain any Class 5 businesses, so that 1,000 is correct.
yeah, so I believe the recommendation last time around was to 15,000 for class 5, right? 1,500, thank you, 15,000 is not a thing.
I'll take the 15,000.
So, and I think, right, I think there's a lot more nerves around class 5, which is retail. Look, if you're doing, if your kid is getting into a distribution center for marijuana, we've got much bigger issues because that means they're breaking and entering, right? So I think the intent was to have the additional distance from class 5 retailers and not be so stringent with the, people who are cultivating. Like if you're growing, like you shouldn't be playing around there anyway, right? That would be the thing. So that would be a substantial amendment.
Yeah, I think we touched that last meeting too.
I think we touched that last meeting too.
I do recall that.
So I would look. If we're gonna go down that route, I'd rather just keep it at the class 5 versus going back to the drawing board here. But
Just a question on that. The ATC, expended ATC, that's cannabis, medical, and recreational, right?
So expanded ATC would be if we only have one, so we could just name it, right?
Like
so
Breakwater,
so it'd be Breakwater
recreational.
saying we want to apply for also doing rec. So that counts as one, right? So they'd be able to say, continue to sell medical, and then they'd also be able to sell recreational to adults.
So isn't that same thing as retail?
Yeah, that's why it says expanded ATC or class 5.
Yeah, but if we go back to the 1,500 thing, that was for
expanded ATC.
Yeah, that was for retail 5, right?
Yes.
Class 5.
So, but isn't the same thing?
Expanded ATC, what you're saying, is included in that
retail.
category.
It's
as a
included.
class
Yeah, it's
5.
included in that. It's included in that category. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then why are we doing the 1,500?
But it would. I mean, I don't think that would apply to Breakwater anyway because they're existing non-conforming in that case.
And, are you done with your question?
I'm done.
Okay. Going back to, in the beginning, you said you're planning to lowering the licenses and the zonings, I believe?
Yeah, so there's another ordinance that we're implementing tonight, which is the ordinance that basically comes up with the licensing process, right? So we could talk more about that later. But basically, Andrew and I have been beating our head against the wall of this because this is a complicated thing. And honestly, other towns have had to revisit this. And I know we're going to need to amend this at some point. We're going to need to fix something we goofed up. Get ready for it. But what we will be establishing tonight is a licensing board, right? And what that'll be is it'll be the police chief, it'll be the zoning officer, it'll be me, it'll be one of the land use board representatives because look, we might get 20 applications, right? So having everyone come to mayor and council is craziness, right?
Yeah.
But that also establishes a hard cap on the licenses that we're going to give that overrides any of this nonsense anyway, right? So we could do the math. Okay, there's 2 allowed here, there's 2 allowed here, there's 1 allowed here, whatever. We probably should have just done this from the beginning, but it is what it is. As it stands right now, it implements a hard cap of 5 licenses, right? I'm actually going to recommend, subject to you guys being amenable to it, a hard cap of 4, right? So,
4 class 5.
4 class 5s, right?
Class 5.
So that'll be the hard cap, right? So even if you count up to whatever this could be, 6 or whatever it is, if we add a hard cap in the licensing process of 4, then it doesn't matter. That's the overriding number. Does that make sense?
Somewhat. So right now, we have 5, right? You're recommending 4?
That's a separate ordinance, but yes, theoretically.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I jump in. How soon are we looking at creating this licensing board, Mayor?
So we're establishing it tonight. We're
okay,
introducing
with
the
this.
ordinance to establish it tonight. Yeah.
Also, I have a question for us to take in consideration the recommendation. Is that a motion that we gotta make for the adjustment for the cap?
Yeah, but I'm going to ask for that motion.
No, I know. I'm just wanting to make sure that's the process. Are you guys finished?
I'd like to say something.
Okay.
Right, go ahead, because
Oh,
you're in
no.
the middle. Yeah, go.
No. I just wanted to make it abundantly clear that I already told my position on numerous occasions, and to me, this still sits in the same realm as I commented back in, I believe it was April or May of 2021, about my position about constitutional law and rights, and this still falls under that social and progressive movement and things of that nature. So I'm not going to be in the way of any of that. Stand in those ways, and I'm not too certain. I do share your notion. People should go to these institutions to educate themselves It's the security is amazing. It's not you just a kid just falls into the marijuana bin in the back and everything's open. That's not what's being depicted. Also, there's I just want to highlight there's a couple of confusions. I know that people have been going around or passing out wrong information, but Chestnut where the ROB is, there won't be anything there because the way the 1,500 feet that Jay initiated and I second the last meeting, that pushes everything out, and for the most part, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that's mostly on Westfield Ave.
Yeah,
on
I
the
think there's a
east and the
little,
west.
there's a little piece.
There's
that's
like a
still-
piece in a second up in the corner.
Yeah,
but for the most
there's
part,
still a piece on
it's
Westfield Ave,
Ave.
but it's really it's
Westfield Ave.
very tight there.
It's Westfield Ave. Yeah.
So-
That's the other thing, 35 parking
So-
spaces will be needed, so.
Yeah.
Just a question to that. Like, I know you said ROB. Right here, if we see this map 1 to 4,
Yes.
Yeah.
it doesn't have the 5, but it only shows you B3 and industrial. Why should we just? I mean, I know it's kind of rare, but I would say could remove B2 and ROB zones if it's not basically like without any variance. You could get in a class 1 to 4 in B3 and industrial zone, which is on Westfield Avenue. But if you do want to open in one in ROB zone, you just need a variance, right?
So you would still need a variance in the ROB zone. Yes.
And correct
But
me
it
if
is
I'm-
possible.
Wouldn't that go back to council after that variance?
No. So this is where council comes in play, and then this is where the land use board comes in play.
Okay.
It would have to, if the, again, subject to us approving the process to get a license for a licensing board, it would go to the licensing board. The licensing board would make a recommendation to council. Council would see the application. Council could go yes or no. And then it goes to the land use board, and then you're done. Council's done. Then it's in the land use board's hands.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to, number one, I want to say, as a team, I respect and just honor every single person up here individually and corporately. I think just working with you all, being around you all has been just awesome. And I say that genuinely from my heart. I also just want to make it very clear, I'm just simply totally against this, 100%, because living here all my life, I'm 47 years old. I really don't need a statistic. I don't need to go into a shop legally, illegally. It's everywhere, ends everywhere, and it always was. I had friends start with that and didn't end well. It's personal. And a lot of people mentioned children, but I'm concerned even about the adults. If you look at the adults walking around like zombies, clouded, depressed, this is not helping the world. So that's just my observation. To be honest, I grew up with, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you? So I don't care that the entire world would be doing it. To me, I'd rather be a leader. I'd rather say no. I'd rather say the door is closed. I'd rather say calling all ice cream shops, come. Roselle Park, we want to spend our money in businesses. If anybody knows, I mean, I did talk to several council members. We want other businesses to open up. This way, I personally think it's a huge no. For me, again, the open door is a big no. And just be careful what you're going to flood in. And I'm just saying in regards to other than money and what's going to happen to people's lives. And I know, listen, you could go anywhere and get it, but I just, again, wanted to share that. And again, I totally respect each person here, but it's something that it's just a heartache. And I would also say for kids and to be, I was around alcohol all my life and other people were, but that doesn't mean there's no alcoholics because of that. There are many, And there are many that went off the deep end, and it's unfortunate. But thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, I just also wanted to say, this is what regulation is about. I think it's safe to say that during our last meeting, we have elected officials up here who went through great strides to push the parameters back as far as possible and to keep everything away from the residents. For me, I just think like, this is about choice at this point. It's constitutionally legal in the state of New Jersey, and at this point, it's just about choice. Like with parenting, I keep hearing kids and stuff. I mean, this might be something that we have to, look inside the households because, if kids are getting into this, we have to monitor our children and put forth better effort. And again, that's what this is about. Is 68% majority, supermajority wanted this in the state of New Jersey. There are going to be people that's for it and against it. And you know what? You don't have to go to the store, to the marijuana shop, and purchase marijuana. Just don't go there and don't purchase and don't make those sales. That's your liberty. That's your right as an American. So that's all. I'll digress. I'm not going to belabor it, but the same thing. Let's just vote and get this over with.
Thank you. I agree with that sentiment. Anybody else? Any further discussion? Call the roll, Andrew.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Nope.
Councilman Patel?
No.
4 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The ordinance is adopted, Mayor.
Andrew, please read ordinance 2730 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2730 is an ordinance for second reading and public hearing, an ordinance amending Chapter 10, Section 4, subsection 4.1 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Recreation Fees Enumerated to establish a fee schedule for the Rec Riders Summer Program.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance number 2730?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody on this one? Seeing no one, may I have a motion to close the public hearing on ordinance number 2730?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
May I have a motion to adopt ordinance number 2730?
So move.
Second.
Andrew, call the roll. Oh, is there any discussion? Andrew, call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is adopted.
Okay, for introduction, Andrew, please read ordinance number 2731 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2731 is an ordinance for introduction, ordinance amending Chapter 10, Section 4, subsection 4.1 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Recreation Fees Enumerated.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2731 for introduction and fix a date for second reading and public hearing as July 20th, 2023? Is
So move.
Second.
there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
Andrew, please read ordinance number 2732 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2732 is an ordinance for introduction, ordinance amending Chapter 16 entitled Building and Construction, Section 1, subsection 1.3 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Fees.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2732 for introduction and fix a date for second reading and public hearing as July 20th, 2023? Is
So move.
Second.
there any discussion? Nope. Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky?
Yes.
Councilman Johnson?
Yes.
Councilman Signorello?
Yes.
Councilman Robina?
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons?
Yes.
Councilman Patel?
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
Andrew, please read ordinance number 2733 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2733 is an ordinance for introduction, an ordinance amending Chapter 13, Article 1, Section 1, subsection 1.6 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park, currently reserved to be newly entitled Public Information Officer.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2733 for introduction and fix a date for second reading and public hearing as July 20th, 2023?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
Andrew, please read ordinance number 2734 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2734 is an ordinance for introduction, ordinance amending ordinance number 2710, fixing the salary ranges of non-union employees and officials of the Borough of Roselle Park in the County of Union, State of New Jersey.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2734 for introduction and fix the date for second reading and public hearing as July 20th, 2023?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The ordinance is introduced.
Andrew, please read ordinance number 2735 by title.
Yes, Mayor. Ordinance 2735 is an ordinance for introduction, an ordinance amending Chapter 4 of the Code of the Borough of Roselle Park entitled Licensing and Business Regulations, establishing a new Section 11 to be entitled Cannabis Business Licensing.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance number 2735 for introduction and fix the date for second reading and public hearing as July 20th, 2023? Good.
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Let me start this one off. So, Andrew, yeah, can you just give us like really, really broad strokes how this is going to work out?
So broadly speaking, once a potential licensee has conditional state approval for a cannabis license, they will then apply for a conditional cannabis license locally in Roselle Park. They will apply based off of, on the application forms that the borough puts out. The application fee under this ordinance would be $10,000, which would be non-refundable. They would pay that fee, submit their application. That application would then be reviewed by the Cannabis Review Board. Once the Cannabis Review Board reviews the application, they'll either determine one of three things. Either it's incomplete and it will be sent back to the individual with no recommendation whatsoever. It will be denied in that it is not seen to be a viable business for the Borough of Roselle Park, or it will be approved because it met all the prerequisites and was scored highly in the review process. If it's scored highly, it gets recommended to the governing body for approval. It's at that time the governing body would approve a resolution similar to an alcoholic beverage control license in terms of issuing a local license. Do you want me to go further than that?
No. So there's a couple things I want to highlight there, right? So this is not meant to take council out of it. Ultimately, the approval will still lie with council on an individual basis. This is mimicking what a lot of other towns have done, is, obviously getting some representation from the governing body, but mostly representation from our professionals, right? As to what is a sound application to recommend to us, right? The other hurdle that we're trying to make sure that only serious applicants are there is a $10,000 non-refundable fee is quite a high price, right? So we are looking for people who are serious, and that's not some crazy price, because actually the price is, it's pretty on par with other towns. So again, when we look at all of these things, what we're building here is not an easy process to come into the town to, get a license, find a location, and sell marijuana in the borough of Roselle Park. This is a pretty high bar to match. And then the other thing that this establishes, so right now as it reads, and this is where it gets complicated. So there are, by certain zones, specific maximums of how many locations you could have. This sets an overall maximum of 5 licenses, right? And things have been pretty fluid, but the more I think about it, I actually think that we should put a maximum specifically on the Class 5, right? Because I'm looking to council here. I think probably the most anxiety is around the Class 5 licenses, right? Retailers. I think even from the public, from what I've heard, I think ultimately there's less anxiety, and I think it's going to be fewer and far between. But if somebody wants to come in and do cultivation here, like, it's something that folks aren't going to have access to, right? So I'd like to leave So just real quick, Carol, class 1 through 4, it's, what is it? Wholesaling, distribution, cultivation, and manufacturing, right? So it'd be a warehouse for all things considered. So I'd like to kind of leave that up to the discretion of council and of this review board. I don't think there's really a need to put a hard cap there, but I'd like to actually lower the cap from 5 to 4 in terms of class 5 licenses retailers. Can I have a motion to do that?
Do you want me to, I'll read the section now?
Yeah, do you mind reading the section?
Sure. So this would be, based on what you've represented, this would be an amendment to Section 3 of the ordinance, which would be Section 4-11.2C. So for those following in the audience, it's page 55. Letter C would read as follows, would be revised to read as follows. The borough shall issue no more than 4 local Class 5 licenses for cannabis businesses. The number of local licenses for Class 1, Class 2, Class 3, and Class 4 establishments shall be at the discretion of the borough. No Class 6 licenses shall be issued.
Do I have a motion to make that change?
Mayor, just a quick.
Could we have a discussion about the?
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, so I know you recommended 4, but I would like to recommend 1 for the retail one, for the class 5, because if we can't break water, they could get 1, which is ATC 1, right? So they could get 1, and then you could have technically 1 more.
So then you need to have 2.
So total, you could have 2.
In your world, what you're recommending, you'd need to have a maximum of 2.
So ATC is separate than retail 5.
So but it doesn't matter. It's, well, so how do?
They already have 1 license, so then it would be 2. I think 4.
Yeah, that's right. So it'd have to be a maximum of 2.
Okay, so I would like to recommend 2. That would be my recommendations.
I wanted to. I don't want anyone to get mad. I wanted to meet in the middle. I don't like 4. I like to go 1 more, like maybe 3. I don't know why I like the number 3. I'm sorry.
Could I just say something? I mean, recommendations are great. There just needs to be a motion.
Yeah. So hold on.
We're still at discussion.
So hold on a second here. Let's put all the recommendations aside, right? So we would need a motion to adopt, right? But the other thing I also want to say is, so to what former Councilman Diorio said is also, this is a max, right? So at the end of the day, right, we could still only approve 1 this year, right? And keep it going, right? Like, so we could say, this is a max, this is a cap, right? You know, the licensing board could kick back to the mayor and council. They could kick back 4 suggestions. And Greg, if the right number in your head is 3, right? You know, then you could approve 1, approve 2, approve 3, and then if you say, hey, that's enough, then the council could.
It ultimately comes back to us.
It ultimately comes back to you guys anyway, right?
But the municipal land use board would also be involved, because when they file the application, say they're approved for the license, they'd still have to file for an application for zoning and approval and request a variance if need be. So they'd still have to appear before.
That's correct, right? So in any
another
situation,
stopgap.
yeah. So forget about the cap for a second, right? In any situation, this has to go to the license review board. Then if it passes that, then it has to go to council. Then if it passes council, then it has to go to the land use board.
You missed
back to council.
the.
Oh, and the state. Sorry, beforehand it needs to go to the state entity, right? So it goes
state and then.
So state, then local review board, then mayor and council, then the land use board.
And
So
then
there's 4 steps essentially. So is there so there's a motion on the table to limit it to 2. Is there a second for that? I'm hearing none. The motion fails.
So there was a motion for 2?
Yeah, from Councilman Patel? Yeah.
Yes. 2. Want to make sure the record is correct. Got it. Okay.
Can I get a motion for a maximum of 4 Class 5 as per the count, as per Andrew's reading? I mean, or we could just pass it as is. Okay?
No, there's no motion for 4. Or-
What about 3? Could 3 be the lucky number? I feel like 3 is the lucky number.
3 plus 1 could be 4. Is that
No.
Not, no. Can I just, I know, I feel like there's been a lot of discussion, and it's the same people. So if we were to limit it to 1, right, if, just to use a real number, right, if we were to limit it to 1 license for recreational cannabis,
Then
and Breakwater were to convert not only to medical, but to also include recreational, it would be done. There would be no more licenses. There's no magical second license. There is just 1 recreational license that they then possess in addition to their medical license. It's 1. There's not another one, right? If you want the potential for Breakwater to, Breakwater's here, right? So if you want them to be an alternative treatment and expanded ATC, and also have another potential recreational, you would want 2.
Greg, can I make the case for 4 for you for a second?
Yeah,
How I got to 4? Yeah.
We had
So
discussion.
the way we did it in the zoning ordinance was the industrial zone. So just to be clear, despite Kanjan's incendiary video, there is no retail sale allow in the industrial zone. So no Class 5 in the industrial zone. So that's a 0 needed for the industrial zone. The ROB zone, per the ordinance we just hit, 1. The B2 zone, per the ordinance we just hit, 1. The B3 zone, 2. That's how you get to 4, right? Now, again, this would be hitting a max of 4, right? Council could say, just like, again, Joe DiOrio was saying right before, this is not a bad idea. You guys could say, all right, well, we're going to consider 1 for this year, right? And 1 for next year, and it's the 3rd in 2026 or whenever it is. Like, you guys can phase this in. This just hits a hard max of what we've already reflected in the zoning. You know what I'm saying?
So going back to that, if we go, just say Breakwater. if we wanna-
Wait, can I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
So does anybody have an issue with, so we're just talking about Class 5 right now.
Class
What-
5.
Yeah, what I'm saying is Class 1 through 4, we're a little bit less cutesy about. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, well, as long as it's an industrial zone.
That's right, yeah, okay.
It's 5, that's the problem.
It's the Class 5 is what
five.
everybody's got outshit about. Yeah, okay, got it. All right, so at least I took that out of the way, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the way it's worded right now is if somebody wants to, if we have, we can entertain as many distribution centers as we want to, right? That doesn't mean we'll approve as many distribution centers, but we'll entertain as many as potential. Whoever wants to pay the $10,000 fee and have a look, then that's on them, right?
Okay. I was just gonna recommend going back to if we tried Breakwater with medical. I think it would be better if we do the same thing here. Try 1, and then we could go forward.
I totally disagree, and I'll tell you why. And I understand the thought behind it.
Yeah.
What I want to avoid is one location getting inundated, right? I want to disperse some of this, right? So what you see in places like Bloomfield, which I think is a bad example of this, is they have one location on a main drag, and it is packed. It is packed, right? So as much as in theory it sounds good to just have one, right? The hard reality is you're diverting all of the attention to 1 or 2, if that's the recommendation, right? And I would say it's probably going to be 1 for the foreseeable future because Breakwater doesn't have any immediate intention to sell adult. So, look, you can make another motion to do just 1, but I fundamentally disagree with the idea.
What do everybody think?
I guess I'll make the motion to do 1.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay. So the motion is to
Is to amend, so it would read, the borough should no more than 1 local license for Class 5 cannabis businesses. Local licenses for Class 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 shall be issued at the discretion of the borough. No local Class 6 licenses shall be issued.
Call the roll.
Well, excuse me, Mayor. What was the first, before motion, when that was 2, now he's going to 1?
The motion is for 1.
No, the first motion a couple minutes ago.
Was for 2.
Was for
Which
2.
was not
Thank you. I
seconded.
didn't-
Yeah. So now the motion is to only allow, so in this case, to make it concrete, if Breakwater says we want to sell adult use, nobody else can do it. Call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
No.
Councilman Johnson.
No.
Councilman Signorello.
No.
Councilman Robina. No. Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
4 votes in the negative, 2 in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed
Mayor,
to.
let me just rip the Band-Aid. I want to make a motion for 3, and let's.
I'll second it.
Sure.
All right. Just for the record, I'm going to read it, if I could.
Go for it.
The borough shall issue no more than 3 local licenses for Class 5 cannabis businesses. Local licenses for Class 1, 2, 3, and 4 shall be issued at the discretion of the borough. No local Class 6 licenses shall be issued. There's a motion from Councilman Johnson and a second from Councilman Robina.
Any discussion? Andrew, call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
No.
Councilman Patel.
No.
4 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The motion is agreed to. The proposed ordinance is amended
Okay.
and introduced as amended.
Okay. That's fine. I'm good with it. I think it's good suggestions. And also, the other thing is, like, guys, again, right? Like, if there is a Class 5 applicant that pays the $10,000, gets through the review board, and gets to council, and you guys still really hate, you're allowed to vote no on it, right? Like, I mean, ultimately, whether or not you cobble together 4 of you have to say no to it, right? Or 3 plus me have to say no to it. But, you can say, to Kanjan and Rosanna's point, right? Look, we could get 1 application. The other thing is also we could just get 1 application this year. Who the hell knows, right? Like, who knows who's going to make it through? But, like, if you guys really decide in the meantime, right, if everybody has a big kumbaya after that, like, we really only want to try 1 for this after this year, we could do that too, you guys can just reject applicants is the other thing. Is that fair?
Just a quick question. The Cannabis Review Board, like the local, is it open to public or it's just
That's a good question.
guys?
It's not specified.
Can we make that public?
We could do public. I see no problem with that. We could do public meetings. Yeah.
Make it public then.
Yeah.
I like that suggestion.
Yeah, I like that suggestion as well. Well, hold on. I want to be, I want to be careful about how, my suggestion would be careful about how do we make this motion, right? So I would say, how do you want to do this?
Can we find out if it's lawful? Like, are we violating any legal thing with the state?
No, I don't think so.
Greg,
Oh, I'm sorry.
they can't hear you.
I'm sorry. No, I was just wanted to know what was the legal ramification for that. If we
Opening
want to
up
be
to the
transparent and we want to do.
Oh, there's no, look, yeah, there's no issue with that.
Okay.
All right, so look, let me, so Kanjan, I like your suggestion, right? So let me propose this. So, formal meetings of the Cannabis Review Board shall be advertised and open to the public.
Yep.
Is that fair?
That's fair.
Somebody's got to make a formal
Second.
motion. No, you got to make a formal motion.
Okay, making a motion. You gotta finish this.
What do you want to make a motion for?
Is this an amendment to the ordinance?
Yeah, this is another motion that,
Okay.
yeah.
I need to fit it into the ordinance. That's the only.
I'm looking for a place for it right now.
So if we go to page 56 of the agenda.
Yep.
The first letter B, the Cannabis Review Board shall establish a reasonable application period and deadline for submission of applications. Such application period and deadline shall be advertised at a minimum by way of the borough's official newspapers, similar to the requirements for advertising a sealed public bid. All applications shall be date and time stamped upon the receipt of the office of the borough clerk. I would put I think that's the logical place to add it. And the motion was that all meetings be held publicly?
Yeah. For all full meetings of the review board be held, shall be open to
Shall
the
be
public.
open to public.
Yeah.
And I'll second that.
Okay.
All right, that all full meetings of the Cannabis Review Board be open
To the public.
the public.
Yep.
You, sir.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good suggestion.
Okay, so that's an amendment. And that will be at the end of that paragraph B. The motion was made by Councilman Patel, seconded by Councilman Robina.
Yep.
840. Roll call.
Yep, roll call.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, the amendment is agreed to.
Look at that, a unanimous weed vote. That felt good. Okay, so there's two amendments that were passed. So just to summarize, there's now a maximum of 3 adult use locations or licenses. And there is an amendment to be made that full meetings of the full board will be open to the public. Is there any other discussion on this?
Need a motion to introduce 2735 as amended.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, I need a motion to introduce as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Andrew, please call the roll.
Question, what are we actually voting right now for?
So it's, do you mind clarifying?
2735.
The introduction of the 2735 as amended with the 2 amendments that Andrew just read.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's the original amendment plus, it's no longer a hard limit of 5, it's a limit of 3 rec uses,
And it's open to the public.
and
Open
then,
to the
and
public.
the meetings have to be open to the public.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
No.
We snuck a yes out of you, Rosanna.
I'm like, wait.
Wait, how you gonna vote for, you got 2 amendments there, bro, you still vote no?
No amendment.
You can change your vote if you
Wait,
want.
can I say no?
You can say
I
no. Yeah, you can
apologize.
say no, it's fine, you can say no.
I'm saying no all the way.
Everybody else want to change
No,
that?
I say no. I'm sorry.
You're allowed one every now and again. Mike Connolly used to do that on
Thank
a
you.
monthly basis.
See why I love you all? This
4
is
votes in
fine.
the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The ordinance is
Thank
introduced.
Oh my God. I just got 7 more gray hairs tonight. It's really coming in thick now. Okay, was that the last ordinance? Please tell me yes.
Yes.
Okay. All matters listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the governing body so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda as part of the general orders. Andrew, have fun.
Yes, Mayor, Resolution 14923 is accepting the resignation of Christopher Simaluka from the position of police patrolman. Resolution 15123 is authorizing the mayor and borough clerk to execute an agreement with the County of Union for certain community development activities for fiscal year 2023-2024. Resolution 15223 is awarding a professional services contract to the Neglia Group for professional engineering and construction management services for the project improvements to Clay Avenue, year 49 CDBG, in an amount not to exceed $40,500. That is their new name. Resolution 15323 is awarding a professional services contract to the Neglia Group for professional engineering and construction management services for the Project 2023 Capital Road Program in an amount not to exceed $67,430. Resolution 15423 is awarding a professional services contract to the Neglia Group for professional engineering and construction management services for the project improvements to Dalton Street and Myrtle Avenue, fiscal year 2023 NJDOT municipal aid in an amount not to exceed $89,200. Resolution 155-23 is approving the submission of a grant application and authorizing the mayor and borough clerk to execute a grant contract with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for improvements to Avon Street and Berwyn Street. Resolution 156-23 is accepting the resignation of Rupen Shah from the position of Clean Communities Coordinator. Resolution 157-23 is appointing Deborah DeCosmo to the position of Clean Communities Coordinator. Resolution 158-23 is awarding a contract to DLC Contracting, Inc. for the project Improvements to Clay Avenue, Year 49 CDBG, in an amount not to exceed $301,296.50. Resolution 159-23 is awarding a contract to AJM Contractors, Inc. for the project 2023 Capital Road Program in an amount not to exceed $403,398.50. Resolution 160-23 is approving the time due calculation in terms of final payment for Christopher Simaluka. Resolution 161-23 is authorizing the tax collector to issue a reduction and/or refund on one sewer utility bill for Block 904, Lot 40 of the municipal tax map in an amount of $1,931 due to a water utility discrepancy. Resolution 162-23 is waiving fees established in Chapter 22 of the Municipal Code for vendors participating in the 2023 Juneteenth Festival. Resolution 163-23 is authorizing cancellation of certain grant receivable and reserve balances. Resolution 164-23 is promoting Robert J. Marasco to the position of Working Foreman of the Roselle Park Department of Public Works. Resolution 165-23 is appointing Donna L. Corrigan as Acting Registrar of Vital Statistics. Resolution 166-23 is awarding a goods and services contract to Maffey Security Group pursuant to Union County Cooperative Pricing System Contract Number UCCP 35-2022 for the project Police Department and Municipal Court Access Control in an amount not to exceed $54,181.77. Resolution 167-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-3348 Willow KC LLC, doing business as Sun Tavern, for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 168-23 is authorizing renewal of inactive pocket alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33614 Cafe C Roselle Park LLC for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 169-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-3384 La Catina Restaurant, Inc., doing business as La Catina Restaurant for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 170-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-44139 Chestnut Street Spirits LLC, doing business as Roselle Park Wines and Spirits for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 171-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-31171 American Legion Post 60 Inc., doing business as American Legion Post 60 Inc. for the 2023-2024 licensing term.
You good?
I don't know why there's ink there, but 172-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-31181 West End Community Center, doing business as West End Community Center for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 173-23 authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33167 Splanga Food Inc. I'm not Italian, I know I pronounced it wrong.
Spielinga.
Doing business as Casas Ristorante and Pizzeria for the 2023-24 licensing term. Resolution 174-23, authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-3353 Frenchie's Bar Grill, Inc., doing business as Frenchie's Bar and Grill for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 175-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-4433 Gajani, Inc., doing business as Roselle Park Liquors and Food for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 176-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-4418 Roselle Park Liquors LLC, doing business as Roselle Park Liquors for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 177-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-155 Liquor 157 LLC, doing business as House 157 for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 178-23 is authorizing renewal of alcoholic beverage control license number 2015-33-126 CDR Group LLC, doing business as Casa del Rey for the 2023-2024 licensing term. Resolution 179-23 is amending the 2023 municipal budget as introduced. Resolution 180-2023 2023 is authorizing the 2023 municipal budget to be read by title only. Resolution 181-23 is adopting the 2023 municipal budget. Resolution 182-23 is authorizing municipal support of Cannabis MD LLC to receive a Class 5 cannabis retail license from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission to operate within the Borough of Roselle Park. Resolution 183-23 is authorizing municipal support of Leaf Vision to receive a Class 5 cannabis retail license from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission to operate within the Borough of Roselle Park. Resolution 184-23 is authorizing municipal support for Fader Farms LLC to receive Class 1, Class 2, and Class 5 cannabis licenses from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission to operate within the Borough of Roselle Park. Resolution 185-23 is authorizing municipal support of Botera JC LLC to receive a Class 5 cannabis retail license from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission to operate within the Borough of Roselle Park. And 186-23 is authorizing municipal support of Primavera Products LLC to receive a Class 5 cannabis retail license from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission to operate within the Borough of Roselle Park.
Okay. Do any members wish to have any items removed from the consent agenda?
Mayor, 174?
Yes,
Hold, let's go, because I think there's going to be a couple. Thank you for doing that,
Yeah, no problem.
174, appreciate it. Anybody else?
Yeah, 155?
155. Okay.
The councilman said 174, is that what you
That's
said?
He
right.
said it,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for you guys.
Jay's one step ahead.
I like to put 152, 153.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Yep, 152.
152, 153,
Yep.
158, 159.
Oh, my God.
That's easy. Then 182 to 186.
Okay.
It's going to be a long night.
Can we vote on 182 to 186 as a block? No?
It's up to the councilman. Is that what he wants?
Do you want to,
I'm
you're going to
okay.
vote no on all six, I would
Yes.
assume? Can you pull all sixes, or all five as a block, just to make it easier?
Yeah, I'll pull as a block.
Yeah, because otherwise we're just going to have to vote.
Yeah, one by one. And so I'll
There'll
do
be,
all in
that means
two.
there'll be one vote on those five.
Yeah.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just a streamline.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the resolutions remaining on the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's go for it. Yeah, may I have a motion to adopt Resolution 152-23?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, just one thing I want to point out, that the 152 and 158, even though the project is named same, the price is different, like the budget is different and the actual people are different. It was just because one is engineering, the other one is actual people doing the work, right?
That's correct.
I just want to point that out.
Yeah, so it's one is for Neglia
for-
overseeing it, the other one is the guys who are going to do the road.
Okay, yeah. That was it.
Oh, okay. Any further discussion? Andrew, call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 153-23?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Just pointing the same thing out.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep, okay. Call the roll, Andrew.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Urbina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 155-23?
So move.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Andrew and the business administrator and you, Mayor, and the rest of council for putting this on. I've been working on this since I first got into office. The first time we initially made an attempt to go after a more aggressive grant, which was on the federal level, but the half streets, paved roads, kind of hurt us there, because usually when you file for those grants, they look at the whole infrastructure, and if something looks brand new on one side and bad on the other side, that grant is going to be definitely denied. So this is our second bite at the apple. If at first we don't succeed, try again, and I believe this one will be more successful. So thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Mayor,
Awesome.
and thank you at large. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Can I say
Thank
thank
you,
you to everybody?
thank you,
Enough?
God.
Oh, no, because we're just getting done.
Thank you, sir.
A1 and Berlin, again. And the rest of the first ward, little by little.
Thank you. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. May I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Andrew, call the roll.
I will
Call the roll.
Councilman
Call the roll.
Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 158-23?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? This was your same content?
Yeah, same
before?
thing,
Okay,
sorry.
got it. Andrew, call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative, Mayor. The resolution is adopted.
Councilman Patel, suggestion for next time, just ask the question up front so you don't make this guy work harder.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize it. My first year.
This is
sorry.
easy. Cannabis is more.
Shut up. Just let it be.
Coming up.
Do I have a motion to adopt Resolution 159-23?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Same thing.
Call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
6 votes in the affirmative. The resolution is adopted.
Can you instruct the senior councilman on the next one?
Just ask for a motion on what's it, 4.
Okay, can I have a motion for 174-23?
So moved.
Second.
Well,
Very good. No, that was right.
Good. That was perfect. Unintentionally.
I got me like.
Beat out.
Any discussion?
Any discussion? Andrew, call the vote.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello is abstaining.
Yes, I'm abstaining.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
Yes.
Councilman Patel.
Yes.
5 votes in the affirmative, 1 abstention. The resolution is adopted.
Okay, may I have a motion to adopt Resolutions 182-23 through 186-23?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? We've discussed enough, thank the sweet Lord in heaven. Andrew, please call the roll.
Councilman Petrosky.
Yes.
Councilman Johnson.
Yes.
Councilman Signorello.
Yes.
Councilman Robina.
Yes.
Councilwoman Lyons.
No.
Councilman Patel.
No.
4 votes in the affirmative, 2 in the negative. The resolutions are adopted.
Okay, thanks, everybody. Reports of Borough Council / committees. I'm just going to go in order. Greg, your first ward.
The one time I was about to excuse myself to go to the restroom.
Oh, really? Just make it quick. Make it quick then, man.
Let's see. Thank you, Mayor, Council. The first announcement I would like to make, dear Roselle Park community, I am thrilled to announce that Roselle Park will be hosting its first annual Juneteenth celebration. This event holds immense significance as we commemorate the emancipation of enslaved African Americans and recognize the importance of freedom, equality, and unity. I encourage all members of our community to actively participate and join in the festivities. By coming together to honor this historic milestone, we strengthen the bonds that tie us as Americans and foster a shared commitment to inclusivity, diversity, and justice. Let us embrace this opportunity to learn, celebrate, and reflect as we mark Juneteenth as a vibrant and meaningful tradition in Roselle Park. This event will be held this upcoming Saturday from 5 to 9. At the gazebo, so I look forward to seeing everyone there. Anyone want to play spades, let me know. I'm looking for a spade partner. So that concludes that part. Please show up. I appreciate it.
Take my money.
Also, I would like to take a moment just to say a special thank you to all the school crossing guards as we conclude this school year. I think all of the school crossing guards do a great job. Of course, I'm biased because I go to Sherman, and I just wanted to thank Andrew Batich, and am I pronouncing that right? Batich. Yeah, I have a problem. And Mariam Gatos for doing an outstanding job off of Grant, Sherman, and Grant and Sheridan. I see them every morning. I speak to them. I always see them diligently doing their job. Well, I wouldn't say every morning because half of the mornings my significant other, we rotate. But on the days that daddy duty, I see them out there effortlessly, and I appreciate them. And I wanted to take a moment just to say thank you from me. Also, thank you, Andrew. I know that I gave you a slew and a mountain of work, but while walking around talking to the constituents, I had to give you a punch letter and then a punch list, and in those lists it regarded sidewalks concerns off of Galloping Hill. There was a lot of raised sidewalks over there. Also, there was some loose Belgian blocks and debris off of Union that we fixed and touched up, and also a lot of tree trimming. So I just wanted to say thank you and kudos to DPW for stepping up to that. Lastly, I also would like to thank Dominic Freno, the police chief, for reaching out to Union County because we're calling for a traffic safety speed traffic study for Union Road, and I'm still waiting for the chief to get back to me when that will come to fruition. But that study will happen off of Union Road coming up shortly. So other than that, I just want to say lastly, please remember your voice matters, and as First Ward Council, I will always place the concerns of the residents within the borough of Roselle Park first. If you need to get in contact with me, please call me at 908-303-1519. And Mayor, that concludes my report. Also, please email me at gjohnson@rosellepark.net. Thank you, and I need to use the restroom, excuse me.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Petrosky?
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to send my condolences out to Luja Capone and Ed Orlick. He was graduating the class of 1960 from Roselle Park High School. On June 3rd, I attended the Pride flag raising. June 5th, I had the fire department meeting. Just let me know that some repairs that has to be done at the 3 firehouses. On the 14th, I attended the recreation. They will be giving out candy that had left over from the Easter egg on July 1st at the fireworks. And it was basically a quick meeting. There will be no July meeting to let everyone know for recreation. Today I attended the joint sewer meeting. We approved the ordinance for the new contracts that they needed and the preventive maintenance, order parts that they're going to need for the next few months. And if you need to contact me, get me at jpetrosky@rosellepark.net, 908-666-7821. And Lucy, I want to talk to you before you leave tonight. I have something to report. It's not bad.
Principal office.
Not bad. It's just, okay.
Lucy, he wants to meet you over, like, by the PD, right? So, swear to God, nothing's going to happen. Councilwoman Lyons.
Oh, it's my turn?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. All right, so I actually started June 3rd. I was invited to Girls on a Mission with Ambition. Scarlett Gowden, if I'm saying her name right. It was such an awesome event. I was so blessed to be there. These girls really are on a mission with ambition. I really appreciate going there. The speakers were awesome. I even was able to talk to a councilwoman from Elizabeth, and it was just great to meet her, connect with her, and be able to really hopefully do things in the future. She is coming to Juneteenth celebration on the 17th, so I'm excited to see her there. June 6th, there was a smoke show. Did you guys like it? That was crazy, right? The world was, well, our world was covered in orange, but we started a Roselle Park walking club that night. And before the world almost really left, we left the world, we did 3 miles. So if anybody is interested, we actually are walking 6 times a week. Sometimes we're doing 6 a.m., 5:30 p.m. We're doing 7 a.m. on Saturdays. That's been just awesome. So shout out to the Saturday crew, the 6 a.m. crew, 5:30 crew. But email me, call me, and let me know if you're interested, and I'm always posting on Sundays the schedule. But it's been really awesome. I also went to the Boy Scouts ceremony. David Levine actually became an Eagle Scout, and that's the highest you could be, and I learned a lot from him that day. But just a great group of kids, and they were awesome to see and to connect with. The library, the community center, they're hopping with a lot of things. Please go on the My Roselle Park app. I always tell people, still to this day, I get people that really don't know about it. Everything is there. You guys do a great job, whoever runs that. Today, I actually went to the ribbon cutting ceremony with Splash Paws. Chris Ann is a new business owner. If you do have a pet, go by there. It is really the cutest spot. It's holistic. It's really awesome. She just is so welcoming and such a vibrant soul. So this is actually located at West Clay Avenue and 351 West Clay Avenue in Roselle Park. So again, June 17th, as I mentioned, Juneteenth, come out, starts 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock. It's at the gazebo. Definitely come and support. Okay, in July 4th celebration is going to be July 1st at 5 p.m., so mark your calendars for that. July 12th to August 2nd, Wednesdays, please come out. I'm doing an open mic at the gazebo. We have we want to register anybody in town. It's open to the town first. We have musicians coming. We also have comedians, hopefully, come and tell a joke. It's amateurs. Get up there, no complaining, just joke telling, okay? So hopefully that'll happen. We'll have some laughter and singing in the streets of Roselle Park. And yeah, so I just want to read one more thing before I go. I actually got this today as we were going through our meeting today. Everything is permissible, but not everything is helpful. Everything is permissible, but not everything builds up. No one should seek his own good, but the good of the other person. I'll leave you at that. Our Lions, rosellepark.net, or 908-726-8773. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Patel?
Yeah. Good evening. Thank you everyone who participated in my survey for the recreational cannabis. The results were 18 no and 7 yes. That is 72.7% voted no and 27.3 voted yes. The Pride Fest event from Positive Rose Park 24/7 is postponed to next Friday because of the rain. As the chairperson of the Rosa Park Commerce, I am thrilled about the arrival of new businesses in our town and their investment in our community. As a council member, I am committed to providing full support to these local businesses, and I know the council and the mayor share the same goal. Today, I attended the ribbon cutting event for the Splash Pot located at 351 West Clay Avenue, the former site of Mimi's Pizza and Italian Ice. Additionally, this weekend, we have another ribbon cutting ceremony scheduled for K9 Kim's Dog Training and Behavioral Service, located at 540 Westfield Avenue. As liaison to the Environmental Commission, the Green Team is looking for volunteers, so if you are interested, please reach out to me. If you need to get in contact with me, please, you can email me at kpatel@rosapark.net. Thank you. Mayor, today was a short one.
That was good. I was expecting to be.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, colleagues. Good evening, Roselle Park. Today was the Special Education Parent Advisory Group, the CPAG's final event of the year at the Sensory Playground. I'd like to say thank you to the love of my life, Jackie Garcia, who is one of the original co-founders, along with Katie McDermott for setting up the event and for their hard work these past few years. They certainly hit the ground running shortly after my wife and I were presented with a proclamation for Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month 3 years ago by Mayor Signorello. So thank you, Mayor, for that. That got the ball rolling. And I'd like to say thanks to Sue Carlstrom and the Roselle Park School District for their continued support. Councilwoman Lyons, thank you for coming out to today's event. Nearly 20% of our district, and just let that sink in for a minute, 20% of our students have different abilities. These kids, our kids, need help so they can succeed in the future. This year,
CPAG's biggest accomplishment was advocating for an additional location for extended school year to meet the needs of the middle school and high school students. Jackie had spearheaded this for 2 years, and Ms. Karlstrom made it happen. And at today's event, we unveiled the 2 new benches and 2 new raised beds for the sensory garden that I was happy to assist with in reaching out for corporate donations. Comes at a cost of $0 in equipment cost to borough taxpayers. So we appreciate the generosity, and thank you, DPW, for installing both of these pieces of equipment for our kids and families. CPAG is running 3 years strong now, and with more than 80 parent members who reach out to them. So please follow up with them online by searching Roselle Park Parents of Students with Different Abilities for their advocacy efforts to contribute and for other ways to help. If you're on a PTA or PTO, reach out. Extend the welcome hand. Talking about inclusion, I supported the Diversity and Inclusion Committee at 2 events last week and attended the Pride flag raising at the library last Saturday. I hear you back there. All right. We know diversity and inclusion is more than race, ethnicity, religion, gender, and sexuality. As one of the many advocates for our students with different abilities, we look forward to the committee and any board or organization on initiatives to support different intellectual, physical, social, and emotional abilities. I assisted ward residents on concerns dealing with tree trimming, parks, and safety. Regarding infrastructure, as the borough's rep for the county's Transportation Advisory Board, visited the Gordon Street Bridge the other day, and it's progressing nicely. It's still projected for a late summer reopening. Got an idea to rededicate the bridge? Marconi and Edison were 2 of the most prominent figures at the turn of last century, and what better way to commemorate them in both twin boroughs than, say, the Marconi-Edison Bridge? Just saying.
Oh, yeah, so Jay, do you mind, just real quick, Andrew, can you just ping the county when you get a sec to see if they want to do anything, or in terms of, yeah, I mean, I would say probably some kind of ribbon cutting or press release, or what, I'm sure they're going to want to do a press release too, right? That was on my to-do list, right? You texted me about this earlier?
Yeah.
I'm remembering the right.
That's what I'm saying now, on the record.
Cool.
For the summer.
For the summer, yeah.
That's right. Thank you.
Yep.
And what can I say? Roselle Park sure has gone to the dogs. Earlier this week, I visited K9 Kim's dog training at 540 West Westfield Ave.
That was so, oh, God.
Dog pun, come on. Ribbon cutting is this Saturday at 3:30, and official grand opening is on the 24th from 2 to 6. And today I joined with all my colleagues here to welcome Splash Paws Holistic Pet Grooming and Styling to the neighborhood. They're at 351 West Clay. We're a family town, and families have pets, and I welcome these 2 new additions. These ribbon cuttings and openings are a sign, a positive one, that there's life here and that people believe in our borough, so they're investing in our hometown. So please check them out and say hello, especially if you have a 4-legged friend. After borough-wide concerns about kids riding bike and playing chicken with cars earlier this spring, I reached out to Easy Ride. They handle transportation services for our community. On biking and walking, they help promote safety, health, and wellness. We were able to coordinate coming into the middle school last Friday, where all students learned how to stay safe on our roads. And today, I'm happy to announce Easy Ride will be joining us for our 3rd annual bike clinic and first ever tour to Roselle Park next Saturday, June 24th at 12:30. We've got New Jersey Bike and Walk Coalition, AAA Northeast, County Youth Services, County Police, and much more. Helmets, giveaways, and Easy Ride will now be offering a free Learn to Ride bike class for kids ages 5 and up. Visit my Facebook page for more information and to register with them directly. Next month, on the following Tuesdays in July at 6:30, will be our community cool-down and training sessions for our volunteer fire department. July 11th, 18th, and 25th at 6:30, so please bring your bathing gear and a towel and cool off under refreshing showers at the recently paved parking lot across from the high school. Mayor and Council, thank you for your support on all these initiatives. Couldn't have done it without you. 5th Ward, Roselle Park, I'm here for you at 862-236-0019. Jay Rabina at rosellepark.net. Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Councilman Signorello?
Okay. Just Councilman Patel, I couldn't hear tonight. You took maybe the clerk and, Andrew. What was the numbers you had, Councilman, on your vote? I didn't hear you. I apologize.
So it's 18 no and 7 yes. So which is 72 points.
So you got 25 25 feedbacks. Feedback from
25, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I attended to I still like to see pizza there, but it was a nice event today. As Councilman Rabina said, a nice thing happening in Roselle Park. And it's kind of strange we're having two, you say four-legged facilities for the community, which is great. So I know the mayor has two cats, so maybe get some business over there. My granddog moved out of town. Anyway,
I can barely get my own park fixed right
I miss him. So look, at a short 2 weeks, I've been looking at what the DPW's been doing, some tree trimming and stuff going on in town. Looking at some parking issues downtown, and hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks, we'll be hopefully starting the project downtown on the T with the sidewalks, as we're looking forward to, and striping and the paving on Colfax and some of the areas off of Colfax, they look great. And Andrew knows one of my pet peeves is the arrow marking the fire hydrant. So they look great. I look forward to that in the morning, Andrew. So that's all I have. Jay Signorella, RosePark.net, 908-721-6488. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have anything to report? No. Excited to see new sidewalks in the downtown. That's about it. Email me at mayorsigg@rosellepark.net if you have any questions, and we'll keep it going. May I have a motion to open the public portion on any subject?
What's that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Too late. Anybody want to come speak on any subject matter?
If I may, I'm going to ask these to be passed down for everybody to take a look at it. Bill Crossett, 412 Galloping Hill Road. Councilman Petrosky's already seen these photos. He's been trying to help me with this issue. This is a house on Woodland in the backyard. They cut down 3.5 of the trees that were in the backyard, and this is the pile of debris that is still there. I did stop down here on June 2nd, left a message upstairs. They gave it to code enforcement. Just for the heck of it, I emailed the councilman. I like to let him know when I run into something, and he also sent it to code enforcement. Yesterday, I had the inspectors come over to inspect the work on the permit that I had, and the first inspector said, give it to code enforcement. The second inspector said, code enforcement's not going to do anything, give it to the fire inspector. What you're looking at is a pile of limbs, and those pictures don't do it justice because today they're even more dead than they were when the picture was taken. So, Councilman Signorella, you're my expert for fire stuff. Is this a bonfire waiting to happen?
Yes.
And there is an ordinance where your grass can only grow so high, and if you don't cut it, somebody's going to leave you a note. A few years ago, I got a note in my mailbox, get the leaves off of Galloping Hill Road in front of your house. I didn't put them there, and I made everybody down here very well aware of that. So I don't know. I mean, the grass is well over the height, hasn't been mowed that I know of all season, but that debris field is 6 foot high in some places. So whatever y'all can do to get somebody's attention, I think there's people living there. I've been told that it's been sold twice in the last year and a half, but I've rarely see anybody over there. The only reason I knew the tree cutting was going on because I heard the saws. So I went and looked out the window, and there's a guy up in the tree doing all the normal cut down the tree things that I've seen before. And all of a sudden in the afternoon, everybody just disappeared. So I don't know if somebody complained to the town, hey, they're cutting down trees. Do they have a permit to do that? I don't have a clue. I don't know who lives there. So whatever you can do to help, get this fire hazard out of town,
Yeah.
I would really appreciate it. Councilman, as always, I appreciate all the help.
Well, I let the code enforcement know about it. He was going to take a look at it today.
Well, she called me yesterday.
Judy Mack?
Yeah, Judy called me, and she said, I can't go on their property.
Okay.
So if anybody else wants to come over, I'll take you out in my backyard, and you'll get an up-close and personal look at it.
Okay. The code enforcement officer told me he was going to call the fire official.
Great. So
Okay.
hopefully it'll get taken care of before there is a fire, because as you can see, it's close to 2 wooden fences, it's close to a shed, and it's close to the steps and the deck attached to the house. So that would be an issue.
Mr. Crossett, these are photos taken from your backyard?
Yes,
Thank you.
from my window and one from the backyard. Interesting, aren't
It's going to be addressed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we keep these? Can I keep these? Mr. Crossett? Can I keep these?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Oh, come on, Joe. I don't got another one for you, pal.
Joe DiOrio, 824 Larch Street. Thank you for the water, Mayor.
Yep.
Where does it get refilled? I can't find a place to refill this.
There's up in the little corridor in the office.
Upstairs?
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you go up and around the corner, you know the office, the little
Yep.
entryway. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I also wanted to thank Councilwoman Lyons' comments, and I agree with her about, I would love to see 100 ice cream shops in Roselle Park, and the efforts
it.
placed on.
Get in business.
Listen, I wish they could all come in, you know? And I guess to me, that was telling, because it's like, okay, let's place our efforts, rather than just focusing on just a lot of attention on cannabis, focus attention on
Oh, come
other.
on, Joe. That's
Excuse me,
nonsense.
wait.
What do you like? What am I supposed to do? Put up a rezo
No,
for a
I-
Dairy Queen?
No.
No, that's not.
You
the
could
way it
have
works.
someone actually be someone that can actually focus their energies, just like you have a public information officer that you're proposing. Have someone place attention on small business in Roselle Park.
Got it.
And the point that I was making is, well, like I said, segued into the Meridia property on Westfield Avenue. Have they found a tenant yet? A commercial tenant?
I don't believe so.
Okay. My follow-up is, have there been any
They're getting fined.
notices? Have they paid fines?
They're getting with the fines for the fines are
They
going.
paid a vacant property fine last year, a vacant storefront.
Okay.
And then the notices will be going out in June for renewals.
Okay, but that doesn't, the violation notice on the vacant storefront, does that have any effect on the TCO that was granted, the temporary? Okay,
I don't know what the latest on the TCO is. Rich isn't here, but I don't.
I mean, that's fine, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
But unless they're told like, hey, listen, you know, you guys got a TCO on us, you have an agreement with the Borough of Roselle Park when you got the pilot program, you got an obligation.
Yeah, but Councilman, respectfully, it's not just them in Roselle Park. We have a slew.
No, I know,
of store
but they
owners.
have a special provision in that they got a pilot.
I agree, right?
I mean, they're special. They were supposed to be the first ones, and they were supposed to be the greatest things since sliced bread.
Well, for the
and all of a
record,
sudden,
not one I voted on, but and not
Neither did I.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
for the record, you're the mayor right now. So,
Yeah, but we've
the
looked.
point
Like,
is,
we've
Mayor,
got
let me finish. Just let me finish, and I'll be out of your
Cassio's has
way.
been empty for. Okay, you got one.
I am
1 minute
talking
and 30
about
seconds.
the major development that happened in Roselle Park, and we were promised that they would fill it. They gave us a lot of, you know, oh, it was going to be a restaurant, it was going to be this, it was going to be that, and nothing has happened. But and we had this conversation before you were running for office, Mayor, that this is their MO. They fill up the units. And they forget about the commercial because their expertise is filling apartments, not in filling commercial, and they've done it in other towns. So I think we need to step up whatever we can do to get them to fill that spot.
Yeah. Look, as mayor, while I agree with you, I would also say I'm more angry at Dowlings that can't get out of their own way. I'm more angry that, you know, the Vintage looks disgusting and they can't take any pride in what they do. I'm more angry that John Boyle is happy to take tax write-offs consistently than actually renting out his place. I'm mad that the downtown, like, I'm happy to see that Just Jubilant's moving, right? But as much as my Italian gets going for Meridia, and believe me, it does, and I'm looking forward to finding them, there's a John Cassio gets to the 5-yard line every time.
I agree with everything you're saying. I 100% agree. But they didn't get a special agreement, and that was the pilot. And I think when you give a special agreement, you should give something back to the borough and show your commitment that you're going to fulfill your obligations.
No disagreements here. No disagreements here.
Mayor, how much is that fine, that vacant
So the first year it's $500, second year it's $1,500, third year it's $3,000. I think does it double every year? It's 15.
500, 15, 3,000, 5,000, and then it's subsequently 5,000.
Perhaps maybe future we get a little bit more aggressive with the fines?
I think we need to be careful to be not too egregious, right? I mean, like $5,000 for an empty store fine is pretty damn high. I mean, we could do it as a percent of. I don't know.
I'll find a way to.
Mayor, could I just note something for the record? I appreciate the frustration because I am likewise frustrated here every day.
Just broadly.
But the idea. So Mr. Beluccio, I'm sure will be happy to discuss this when he's here during his report. It's not within anyone's jurisdiction but his own to issue a TCO, and I think we all have heard that at least once before from him. But the idea, even if he were to revoke a TCO, and there would be some type of mass exodus from that building, for the notation that was just made, that would mean that there would be no gross revenue at that building, which would mean we would have no revenue coming in as part of the pilot agreement. We would have a minimum amount of revenue, but it would severely impact the amount of revenue we would have to anticipate in the municipal budget. It's not something, I understand the sentiment of wanting to do that, I do, but something that drastic, I think that the iterative approach, and I think that, maybe it's a little too iterative for everybody, maybe they don't seem like they're willing partners, but, I think there's a better way of going either hot or cold on this, right? And so I just want to, globally, these are not things that we haven't thought about at the borough, in terms of fixing this, saying you got to close shop. The reality is if they close shop, that's a lot of money that we're missing out on that we currently project as getting in the municipal budget. I just want to make a note of that.
Yep. Okay. Anybody else? I'm seeing no one. Okay, thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn, close the public portion?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That's it.